What's going on, guys? Carmine here, and yeah, welcome to my Season 8, Episode 1 review slash breakdown slash whatever the hell I thought of the episode. And I gotta say, it kind of feels weird. I was just thinking about this like a minute ago. I've been reviewing Game of Thrones for almost 5 years now. I started in Season 4, and this is the beginning of the end, and it just feels a little weird, but exciting at the same time. Now, you guys came here to find out what I thought of the episode. I like to watch it 2 or 3 times before I do my review. I just finished my second viewing, and the first viewing, you usually have your fanboy goggles on. After the second viewing, they're clearly off, and even after the second viewing, I gotta say, the episode wasn't bad. In fact, it was better than some of the premieres we've gotten in the past. Season 6, Episode 1 was absolutely just not that great, and this is one of the better premieres we've gotten. And I will argue that it's not better than Season 1, Episode 1's premiere, or it wasn't better than the premiere for Season 4, but it was still pretty good nonetheless. And this is what you can expect from stuff like this. I mean, it's the last episode, or some of the last few episodes. We only have 5 more after this. And yeah, we have to get all the characters together. A lot of people were saying nothing really happened in the episode. I want to challenge that because I think a lot of stuff happened, just not stuff you're caring about. And I know a lot of you guys, you're in the comments section, you're expecting me to roast this, and sometimes I will roast it, but oftentimes, just gonna be honest, I didn't think it was a bad episode. A lot of you guys, though, and you can't say anything else, you know you can't argue against this, you hate watch this shit. You probably stop liking it around Season 5, and then ever since then, you've just kept up with it because you wanted to finish it out. And I know you come in here, you waiting for me to roast it, and if it's bad, I will, but a majority of the things that we did get in the episode, I did enjoy. I think it was a solid episode, but there were some mistakes here and there that I wasn't too keen on, but let me just stop rambling and just get on to it. And right off the bat, let's talk about the new opening. It's the song is still there, but the visuals are very different. And quite frankly, it's a bit bittersweet. I do like the new details and going inside the buildings and, the stuff they put in there. The Lion of Casterly Rock over the Iron Throne and, the throne and, going into the crypts of Winterfell. Cool stuff. But a major part of Game of Thrones is going all over the world, seeing the Vale, Meereen, Braavos, the Twins, and even though our story doesn't take place in those places anymore, at the same time, you just can't help but miss them, and I feel as though because our story is more compact now, they have to change the visuals up. Props on them for doing it, but at the same time, it does feel a little bittersweet. And shout out to Last Hearth, the Umber Stronghold, for being included this time. I think they're the 3rd northern house location that was featured, the other one being the Dreadfort. So, good on them for that. But over in King's Landing, we have Cersei finally receiving the Golden Company. Now, I am as disappointed as Cersei is that we're not getting elephants. I guess the budget had to go to Jon and Dany flying on dragons or whatever. Hopefully there'll be enough CGI budget for Ghost, but, we'll have to see how that happens. But I don't know, like, Cersei's scene in this episode, I'm just kind of super indifferent towards it. It's like, whatever. I don't know, I don't know if I'm tired of Cersei at this point, because it's just the same old with her, but it's just so, I mean, Euron is a character that still is kind of back and forth for me, but at the same time, him combined with Cersei and that little scene of them, getting together and doing something, and, some type of flirting they did, which came off as a little awkward to me, like, you're arrogant, I like that. Okay. I just really don't care. A lot of you guys in the comment section and on Twitter were saying if Cersei was having sex with Euron to pass off the baby as his, and to that I say, like, at this point, I just don't care about Cersei at all whatsoever. The only thing interesting about Cersei to me at this point is just to see who's going to kill her. Is it Arya, Jaime, Tyrion, Bronn? I fucking doubt it, but still. And on the topic of Bronn, I like how Cersei picked him out of all people in the Seven Kingdoms to go assassinate her brothers. Now, a lot of you guys were saying, why would she do that? Obviously he's not going to follow through with it. Well, apparently, the actor who plays Bronn, Jerome Flynn, I believe, said in an interview a while ago, from what I'm told by you guys, that after this season, you guys aren't going to like his character anymore. Now, I don't know if that's telling that Bronn will follow through with this, or maybe he'll take a shot and miss, or maybe he'll take a shot and it'll be a not life-threatening shot. Who knows? But I do like the poetic justice Cersei is going for here, and that's the one thing in this episode she did right. Because Bronn does have a close friendship with Tyrion and Jaime, more Tyrion than Jaime. In her mind, it's a sense of poetic justice for her, because who better than to take you out than someone you trusted, like a friend. So I get where she's coming from. I like the mindset, but at the same time, her scenes are just kind of meh. Bronn, on the other hand, I mean, once again, every time Bronn is on screen, I pay attention. He's very clever. He's very funny. A lot of his scenes are very well written. And we finally got some naked scenes in Game of Thrones. I feel like Season 7 had almost none, except for that one with Missandei and Grey Worm. But, I mean, I guess we got to have a couple of more before the end of the show. So thank you for that, Bronn. And let's just get this out of the way right now. I know there's going to be a couple of you guys who hate this show right now. You hate watch this show. It's okay. I do the same thing with Vikings at this point. But you got to admit, that ending was pretty fun and pretty great. Bran, I'm waiting for a friend. 12 hours later, he's still in the same spot. I feel like nobody moved him from that spot. He just stayed there waiting for Jaime. I don't know why. I just really like that. But if I was Jaime, I would look at him and go, what? No, that can't be that 8-year-old kid from 5 years ago. He looks like he's 19. But no, that was a great ending. I actually really liked it. A lot of callbacks to season 1 in this first episode. A lot of callbacks, and rightly so, And yeah, the way they cut that out with Jaime arriving, being greeted by Bran, it's just, I don't know, I thought it was great. Even if you hated the episode, you got to admit that was a nice little fun moment. Let's talk about the revelation between Jon and Samwell Tarly, where Sam tells Jon, who he really is. I love that scene. I thought the acting was pretty good. However, the one thing I didn't like had nothing to do with either the actors. It had to do with the fucking lighting. Look, I know they're down in the basement, and they're in the crypts, and it's dark, and you got the candles, but holy fucking shit. I've said this before, I'll say it again, I have eye problems, and my god, I need to turn up the brightness because I can barely see what's happening. And this has got to be one of my major complaints about this episode is, oh god, I'm just thinking about it now. The next episode is going to take place in the fucking nighttime, and no. Oh god. But my one complaint is the scene was great when I did turn up the brightness, but I wanted to see Kit Harington's expression a bit more clear, because when you do turn up the brightness on your television or your computer screen, it kind of distorts, the HD image a little. Unless you have like one of those $1,000 TV with HDR technology where you can see like what's in the dark corners of the screen. I don't have that. I have like a fairly standard television, so yeah, that was my one complaint about that scene. But I did like it. I thought it was great. And once again, I love that they're emphasizing the whole, Team Jon, Team Dany thing going down here, especially with Sam. And on the topic of Jon and Dany, I will admit their romance in this episode was kind of cute. I'm glad we got, to see them hanging out a little bit and just acting like a couple. And I guess this is what Targaryens do when they're in love. They go flying off together. I once dated a girl from Utah, and she took me to the shooting range. So I guess, every culture has its own thing. But no, yeah, I really like their little banter back and forth. It was super adorable, made me smile, especially the part where he goes like, "What if I fall off?" And she's like, "Well, it was an honor knowing you, Jon Snow." So I thought that was super cute. However, I just want to say, Jon and Ygritte, Rose Leslie, and Kit Harington, they have way better chemistry than Kit Harington and Emilia Clarke, and I just got to put that out there. They're still, Jon and Ygritte are still my number one best couple on the show, hands down, without a doubt. But Jon and Dany do come slightly close to that, but not able to overcome it. But I don't know. I just like it. I think it's super cute. And yeah, I had no complaints about it. But I will say, though, the Drogon thing with him looking at, them kissing, whatever. Like, a lot of you guys were telling me that was super cringy. Whatever. But not everybody is feeling the Jon and Dany relationship. Zach Lee says, "I'm sorry, but Jon and Dany flying through the air on dragons had a very Disney feel to it, like Aladdin and Jasmine flying on the flying carpet. Waste of CGI budget, in my opinion." I agree and I disagree with this. Once again, I'm glad, we're seeing them actually in love and hanging out together instead of being told that they're in love. I would rather see it than be told by secondary characters, which we kind of did get some of that with Davos, Tyrion, and Varys. However, at the same time, I'm inclined to agree because Jon needs to get Dany to be trusted by the Northern Lord. He needs the Northern Lords to trust her, and the best way to do that, trusting between two cultures, two different, groups of people coming together is through food, right? I've had several females come to me before from YouTube and, from overseas or out of state come over, and I usually show them around, and one of the first things I do is I always show them the local cuisine. So I feel as though if I was writing the show, in order to show, them hanging out, but also getting trust from the Northern people, would be, have her visit a tavern with him, and maybe they can, play some Northern games or something, eat the food, maybe Dany can, communicate a bit better with the people there, just so they can kind of trust her a little bit, but also hang out, show that they're in love and all that stuff. That's what I would do something, akin to that, but at the same time, you have a point. The CGI budget really could have gone to Ghost, but what are you gonna do? Russell Leak says, Jon writing the dragon named for his father was cathartic for me, and the significant stare down they had was awesome for me as well. Calls back to the way the direwolves represent the spiritual connection between each Stark. Each dragon is significantly named / responds accordingly, and why I personally think Drogon will end up taking Viserion down. And yes, I probably said the dragon's name, Viserion, whatever. I always say it wrong, leave me alone. But that's a good call right there. Obviously, Khal Drogo, which is what Drogon is named after, Dany's first husband, Khal Drogo. Drogon taking down the Night King dragon is definitely going to happen. And the show loves doing those kind of callbacks, those kind of foreshadowing as well. And Khal Drogo killed Viserys, so it's only fitting that, Drogon will kill his brother Viserion. So yeah, I like that call. I also think it's kind of funny looking back on it now with Jon and Dany kissing and Drogon just staring down at Jon doing that. It's almost like Khal Drogo is being represented in this dragon. I love it. And let's talk about Daenerys for a minute here, because I really feel bad for her in some way, because all the result of all the tension in this episode is mainly coming from her. Even the nice little scene between Arya and Jon is kind of overshadowed by her. The whole Sam thing, which, by the way, I gotta give props to Samuel Tarly's actor, John Bradley. Normally, I usually skip Sam scenes because Gilly makes it unbearable, but this has probably got to be one of the best scenes from Sam I've ever seen in the show's history. And the show's not even done yet, so yeah, hopefully we get some more of those, because he was on a streak, especially in that scene with him and Jon, but we'll get to that later. But Jon and Dany, I feel bad for them the most, because they're trying to make it work, they're clearly in love, and yeah, she's the source of all the tension. Now, it's understandably so, because she comes in here with a lot of the people that the North really hates. Tyrion, the Hound, and Jorah Mormont. I mean, Jorah kind of disgraced the North by selling men into slavery, and as for Tyrion the Hound, well, the North doesn't like the Lannisters, so she's kind of, she's kind of really putting on the tension here. But at the same time, though, I understand her frustration. She wants to establish that dominance. She is the rightful queen of the Seven Kingdoms right now. The whole Jon-Dany debate can go on later. But no, she's the rightful queen. She can burn everybody down to the ground if she wanted to, but she needs to show that restraint, but she wants that respect at the same time. And it's no time for her to be earning it right now with the Army of the Dead coming. She needs them to know that this is how it is, and you guys should start showing some respect, otherwise we're going to have a problem. But at the same time, she's at her boyfriend's parents' house, so it's just a really weird situation for Dany, and I kind of feel bad for her, but at the same time, I can't say I don't like it. I really love the tension, I really love the drama, and I'm curious to see how she deals with it going forward. Personally, I would have liked her to, step up and tell all the Northern Lords that, hey, look, when this is all over, when I take the Iron Throne, you guys will get your due. I will make sure that the North gets a seat at the table every time. But once again, I did like the tension brought out by Dany being there with, her group and all that, especially the stuff with Sansa, which I can't wait till that comes ahead in the very next episode. And speaking of Sansa, there was one thing that kind of annoyed me, and when I say kinda, I mean it really annoyed the hell out of me. And I was just laying in bed, I just had to get up and record this, and that was the Sansa-Tyrion interaction. And I just gotta say, you better calm the fuck down and show some goddamn respect. First off, when this girl was in King's Landing, everybody was using her and abusing her, and this guy was the only one that actually genuinely cared about her. And you, like, the first thing you do is you try to play the game of douchebags with Tyrion? Come on, get the fuck out of here. You need to give this guy a hug or a hand job or something. Like, I would be glad to have someone like Tyrion marry me, you know? I always remember that one scene in season 3 where, you know, they're talking about sex after, you know, getting married to each other, and she goes, well, what if I don't want to have sex with you? And then he goes, then my watch begins. Yo, what a cool fucking dude. Like, come on. And I just did not like that little interaction. I felt as though she could be a bit more, you know, grateful to him not being a piece of shit to her. Like that's all I'm gonna say. He's not even my favorite character, and that still fucking annoys me. Like, come on, are you serious? Are you serious? Sorry, I just had to get off. I just had to get that off my chest. However, Sam just says it's really more Team Dany versus Team Sansa, and Jon is just there. I gotta disagree with you, Sam. It seems more Team Jon and Team Dany because of the whole parentage situation and who should sit on the Iron Throne. Jon said it best. This sounds like some treasonous bullshit going on right here, and I do like the tension there. Sansa, on the other hand, another commenter said it best. He goes, ever since Sansa thinks she beat Littlefinger, she's acting all tough. And I gotta agree with that as well, because, yeah, Sansa didn't beat Littlefinger. She had help from the Scooby Gang. She didn't defeat him. She had Bran, you know, do his vision thing and all that stuff. So, But at the same time, in this episode, Sansa was just super bratty. Like I said before, I was not a big fan of the way she treated Tyrion. She could have treated him a bit better, and she could put some more faith in Jon. However, at the same time, I do understand where Sansa's coming from. They elected him to be king in the North, not to kneel as the king in the North. So, it's a weird situation, but I feel it's more, you know, Team Dany versus Team Jon. And I also feel like there's a lot of people on Jon's side, especially in this comment section. And I will say, ever since Season 6, Arya has kind of been meh for me, you know? Season 7 really just made me not like her character, and that's mainly the writer's fault for trying to write her as, like, a badass, like, superhuman type of character, even though, you know, she never finished her training and, you know, all that stuff. Not gonna go into it, but I will say all of Arya's scenes in this episode were actually pretty good. But I will say, however, I did actually like her reunion with Jon, though I felt as though had they not made her, like, you know, made her character a badass who knows better than everybody and has that, like, overconfident, like, you know, demeanor to her, I feel as though if she was kind of Arya from maybe Season 4, this would kind of be more of a fun reunion instead of, like, her kind of sizing Jon up a bit, which is what I felt she was doing. And I also was kind of disappointed that their reunion was overshadowed by his relationship with Dany. However, I still enjoyed it nonetheless, and I also enjoyed Arya and Gendry a bit, and I did sense a bit of flirting between them. Not too much, not heavily, and, you know, it wasn't heavy, but it was implied, and I did kind of like that, because Gendry is friggin' awesome, and I like him playing around with her. It was cute. So, yeah, Arya, this time around, not bad. Let's keep it up. Moving on over to the Greyjoys for a minute there, the whole thing with Theon rescuing Yara, we all expected that to happen, but someone put it best, why didn't they just take Euron's ship? Not to mention, Arya's plan kinda fucking sucks, so she's going to sneak away, go back to the Iron Islands, take it over, and then Euron's gonna get news of this from one of his spies, and he's just gonna go back and take it back and probably capture you again. Like, I don't understand what you're trying to do here with this. But no, Theon and Yara, I did like their little scene there. It was super cute. I do also like how Yara is still loyal to Dany, and I'm pretty sure that when the Battle of Winterfell goes south, and it will, Yara's gonna come in and try and help them all out. So hopefully we get to see some of that in the future. I'm glad they haven't forgotten about Yara just yet, because after she was captured, she was sidelined for all of Season 7, which I can understand. They don't want to keep someone on the payroll just to stand there and, you know, look hostaged. But at the same time, I do like Theon in this episode. I'm glad the show remembered that he's fantastic with the bow. But I still can't get over the fact that why didn't they just steal Euron's ship? Like, whatever. On the topic of Euron, I just am so indifferent to the character. He's fun, but at the same time, he's just pervy Ramsay. That's basically what his character is. Like, take Ramsay, crank him up to an 11, and give him a bit of a pervy personality, and there you go. That's essentially Euron Greyjoy in a nutshell. It gets annoying, but at the same time, in a room full of Cersei, Qyburn, and the Mountain, it's kind of a breath of fresh air, so what are you really gonna do, you know? And lastly, let's talk about the scene at Last Hearth. So, in the beginning of the episode, Ned Umber goes back up there to try to get some of his people out of, that location to bring them to Winterfell, more bodies for the army of the living. And we find, the survivors from the wall attack. They arrive at Last Hearth, Tormund, Beric Dondarrion, and some, random red shirts. And they encounter Ed. Now, I gotta say, that's probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire episode is, stand back! He has blue eyes! I've always had blue eyes. Like, I love stuff like that. So, and once again, a lot of you guys were saying you hated the comedy in this episode. I understand what you're talking about, but it's not Marvel cringe comedy in the wrong places. I thought that was kind of funny and, rightly placed. But I gotta say, the gruesome scene in the basement below with the little boy and how he was killed and, the arms, all like, that was awesome. I love stuff like that. Now, I'll admit this right now, don't tell nobody, but I'm kind of a bitch when it comes to horror films. I don't watch horror films. I like horror comedy films like The Army of Darkness and Evil Dead, originals. But, yeah, when it comes to, like, straight-out horror, I just will not watch it because, yeah, I'm a punk bitch. I'll admit it. Just don't tell nobody, okay? Just let's keep it between us. But I do love when the show goes out of its way to add that horror element to the White Walkers, because that's one of the things that they're missing. We know they're very threatening and menacing, and they're pretty good at combat, and they just overwhelm you with numbers. That's great and all, but they also need to be very intimidating and scary. They need to strike fear into the heart of their opponents, and I loved it. As for the symbolism, I don't know if anybody's figured out what it means, though I do want a moment later on in the season, probably with Bran, to explain what the hell those symbols mean, because we've seen it multiple times, most notably in the Season 6 flashback when we see the creation of the Night King, that little symbol around the weirwood tree. But overall, I actually did enjoy the episode. It was a solid one, and on a scale from 1 to 10, I would give it a 7.5. I did enjoy it. And as far as season premieres go, it's one of the nicer ones. And I know a lot of you guys, once again, you love to hate watch this show. I get it, but keep in mind that I rate and review this stuff on how I enjoyed each episode individually, unless it's the season review. And I did quite enjoy this episode. My one complaint being, the Cersei stuff was a little dry. I didn't really care too much. And I also failed to mention, I wanted to see more of the Golden Company. So even if you're not a book reader, like, you should still know that these guys are fairly important and they have some type of reputation in Essos, which we've heard about them before in previous seasons. My other complaint is that the stuff between Jon and Sam, which was crucial, was kind of dark. I mean, come on, let's be honest. But those small complaints aside, it was a fairly good episode. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty solid in terms of enjoyment. And, yeah, I want them to keep this up. My one thing that I would have done differently is I would have added more minutes to the runtime so we can have the other characters doing more stuff. Hell, we haven't even seen Brienne and Podrick yet, so, I mean, once again, with what, like 48, 50 minutes in this episode, I really feel like they kind of dropped the ball on the runtime and that we should have gotten more scenes with some other characters just to catch up on what they were doing, But at the end of the day, like I said, I thought it was a solid episode. The stuff with Jon and Dany was super cute. Arya, for once, didn't annoy me. There's nice tension, especially, where Dany's in the center. Nice stuff going on with Sansa and Jon. Jon's parentage and how that could affect his relationship with Dany, all that good stuff. I just wanted to keep going in the right direction and keep getting better and better with each episode, which is what I'm hoping is going to happen. Oh, and before I forget to mention, guys, I am doing giveaways for every single episode, a $25 gift card to Amazon during this season, and all you have to do to enter is literally just comment down below. You don't even need to be subscribed, though I would appreciate it. You don't even need to like the video, just comment your thoughts down below, and I'll pick one person right now. Russell Leak, your comment stood out to me a little bit. Please contact me privately for your $25 gift card to Amazon, and don't worry guys, I'm going to have more of that for next week. Just leave your thoughts down below. Also, I'm doing a Q&A video, so If you have any questions you'd like to ask me, or any thoughts of mine that maybe I didn't cover in this video, leave them down below and I'll answer them for my Q&A video. For those of you who are fans of the Game of Thrones podcast, don't you worry. Me and Preston are coming right back in a few days to release that, to give you our thoughts and discuss the episode a little bit. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe, hit that like button, that bell notification to stay up to date with all future videos. And remember, guys, please leave those comments below. I am interested in knowing what you thought of the episode as well. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, all that good stuff. You know the drill. I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.